Hello 30 Rockers and welcome back to 30 Rock. Today is day 121 and unfortunately here today we had a couple of sick children, two of the younger ones, and if you've got children out there, you know that anytime that you've got sick children, especially the younger they are, the more that you just want to be able to kind of stop the world and be able to spend time with them. And fortunately this happened over a weekend, and so that's exactly what we did. We just spent all day with the children and just took it easy, and everybody's feeling a little bit better tonight. Not 100% yet, but just a very low-key day, and just great to be able to do that, to be able to say, you know what, we're just going to drop anything that we had planned and just hang out as a family together and just heal and be together. So nothing to be concerned about. Everybody's going to be well here hopefully tomorrow or the next day, but it was just a very low-key day here today. And one thing that I did do is I was thumbing through a vegetarian magazine today at one point, and this would be officially the first time I've probably ever looked at a vegetarian magazine. And I was really surprised, and I shouldn't be, but I was surprised to see just the plethora of new products in the vegetarian world. And as I looked at them a little bit deeper and looked online, some of these vegetarian foods are really no different than a lot of the sad alternatives that you'd find in the standard American diet, except for that they happen to be vegetarian. They're still overly processed, there's lots of chemicals, there's lots of other junk in there. And I think a lot of times when you think vegetarian, you tend to think health. I did anyway, but really, vegetarian means there's no meat, and that's really where that line stops. And so it was interesting to me to see that when people are in these huge segments, whether it's you're vegetarian or even vegan, I would imagine that there's a lot of the same things happening in the food that as a raw foodist we would say, hey, that's not something that you want your food to begin with. I don't want chemicals. I don't want chemical engineers. I want unadulterated food from the earth. And that might mean that you go ahead and you whiz it up and you make it taste like something different with another natural food. That's fine. But once you start adding chemicals and preservatives and just other things, you don't even know what they do. It's hard to think that that's healthier, and maybe it is healthier than some of the sad alternatives, but certainly not healthier than going right to the source, and that is the original foods, the fruits, the vegetables, the nuts, the seeds, the herbs. And it was shocking to me as somebody that has seen the vegetarian movement as kind of a health movement for so long, to see all these foods made by even major companies out there that are just a vegetarian option. And I think it's so important, for me on my journey, this has always been about health first and about regaining my health and getting it back. And so to be there with a couple of sick kids and thumbing through this and almost getting a little upset that, again, I think that people are trying to make good choices, and I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a lot of people out there putting stuff into their products to give it better shelf stability or better flavor or whatever, what they presume to be a better flavor, and not really worried about what the end consumer is getting. And I think that, as we're on our journey towards health, it's so important to remember what it is that we're putting into our body, what our ultimate goal is in the end. And, if you go down a detour to understand why you did it, and some of those detours that can be lifelong, is to find maybe a vegetarian replacement for something that you just didn't feel like you could get out of your diet. You said, I've got to have this, but at least I'm going to find a vegetarian option. And then to read that package and find out that vegetarian option, while it may be vegetarian, isn't really a better option to get chemicals and all that kind of stuff out of your body. And so it was just kind of another eye-opener as I continue this journey, and I will be sharing more about what I discover in this area over the next few days. But it was just kind of an eye-opening day on a otherwise very lazy, relaxed day, just spending it with my family. The kids are going to be fine, and hopefully they'll be better tomorrow. Otherwise, it might try to change my schedule a little bit so that I can be with them a little bit more. So until tomorrow, keep making great choices out there and rock on.